Hi everyone, it's Dave Figueroa here, and I'm back with another episode of the Cerebral Palsy and Fitness Podcast. I'm here with Graciela Moore. She's a life coach and a mentor. So welcome, Graciela. Tell
Thank
us about tell us
you.
about yourself.
Oh my gosh, David, I'm so happy to be here. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful. I'm glad to have you on, and I'm excited to learn about you and about your message regarding hope.
Yes. Hope is everything for me. I feel like it's the fuel. If I am not consistently tapping into how strongly I am working towards the things that I want, the blessings that I'm waiting for, then I'm just not myself, and I start leading with the ego, and then I get desperate and moody and antsy because waiting between today and blessings to come, that in between is excruciating, isn't it?
It is. To kind of to kind of ask you about that. How did you did you end up finding the message of hope through, I guess, personal experiences? Was it through your church? Where did you find that
Mm,
that motivation?
that's a great question because it was an actual invitation. And so the best way to describe it is, being called by the Spirit, right? Because I waited for many, many months. So in our church, we don't have a preacher or a priest. The congregation is invited to share. And so every Sunday we have speakers. My sisters will go and speak and share their testimony, my brothers, us, right? And so I waited months and months and months to be invited to give a talk. I could have said, I could have raised my hand and said, I want to give a talk. Let me, what Sunday can we do it? That would be awesome. But for me, it was a very innate desire to wait, which is very surprising. And so I felt like, wow, I made it. I'm an adult. I can wait.
Mhm.
Because innately, I said to myself, I'm not going to raise my hand. When the Spirit is ready for me, the Spirit will call, and they're going to call me and invite me to give a talk, right? Well, I waited months and months and months.
Mhm.
And then on July 4th, my phone rings. I remember it was a Sunday. Oh, Sister Moore, we would like to invite you to give a talk and share your testimony. Ding, let's check that first box, right? Now, they could have said, just share your testimony, any given topic, be our guest. We just want you to fill the Sunday, fill the spot, right? But instead, they said, we want you to talk about hope in Christ, right? And I said, oh, wow. Well, I've never thought about that. That's super cool. Let me investigate, right? And I mean, a literature major, when you read, you're an investigator at heart. You just dive deep into those rabbit holes of literature and research, right? And so I wrote my little talk, and it's beautiful and it shares a very strong testimony and whatnot, but I couldn't stop. And so out of that talk, which became a blog post called, Hope in Christ, how I found my niche, and how I decided how to be a life coach, right? From that blog post or talk, then the Hope series was born. And months later, here I am talking about hope and sharing this message.
That that is
Yay.
that is awesome.
Oh.
So what kind of life coaching do you embark on? Like what's your target audience as far as what you're looking for?
Mm. Well, I'm not sure. Do you know what an empath is?
I am not too familiar with that.
What about highly sensitive person?
So I would assume someone that's extremely sensitive about something.
Sure, about everything. Lots of stimuli, right?
Right,
Senses. I'm
right.
talking. So when you're highly sensitive, and maybe now you'll be curious about this in your personal life, and you're going to want to know if you are. But I'll give you the simplest example. When you're a highly sensitive person, which is a term coined by Elaine Aron in 1991, the stimuli for your sense, what your senses receive can be really distracting and really traumatic, depending on the intensity of those sensitivities, right? And so it's very common for highly sensitive people to struggle with social anxiety, being in large groups of people. It's about energy. It's about going into a room and fidgeting and not knowing why. And now you're fidgeting even more because you're acting weird. And now you're fidgeting even more because what's wrong with you? Come on, get it together. And how our brain just blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So all of those are sensitivities. And because I am a highly sensitive person, one of my audiences is highly sensitive people, because I've already managed, after 30 years knowing that I'm highly sensitive, I've managed to turn those sensitivities into quote unquote power. I use them to help me. I help others through my sensitivities that are now my strength. And so we could say that's one target audience. But of course, there's the topic of hope, which applies to everyone. I didn't want to just say, I want to only work with women. I mean, if you're listening and you're not a woman and you're feeling like you would like a very solid dose of hope in your life, I want to talk to you, regardless of like niching down to the very, very and then, so Song of Myself Coaching, which is the name of the business and the blog and the Etsy jewelry store and all of that's like my umbrella, right? It's a poem by Walt Whitman, transcendentalist American poet. And the poem is about mindfulness, about confidence, and about hope, right? Those are the three pillars of what I teach and coach people through. And so if you need help because you're not present in your life and you need to tap into mindfulness, I want to speak with you. I know that I can help. And, I work with a nonprofit weekly as a confidence specialist, helping survivors of abusive relationships and domestic violence, co-ed, both men and women. And so there's that confidence piece that just all of this is all that I am. And I just want to help people navigate either or, however I can help. It's just such a blessing to be doing this work. I cannot begin to describe it, really.
It is, especially during, I feel like during this time that we're the last few years, especially with the pandemic, you're dealing with a lot of problems as far as mental health, and it's been a major uh problem that a lot of people are having difficulty trying to overcome, because at the beginning, you're dealing with a lot of lockdowns and closures, and then you're stuck at home practically all day, every day sometimes, and people
Mhm.
losing their jobs, and it's good to have that outlet to where you can go and be like, I can be myself, and I can also receive the help that I need, especially, when I'm feeling down in the dumps and feel like everything's gone. There's always, like you said, there's always hope. There's somebody out there,
Mhm.
or there are programs out
Right.
there to help you overcome that issue you may be facing. So I commend you on that wholeheartedly.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. It's truly a privilege, I feel like, to tap into what we all have in common. So let me give you an example of something very presently that I'm doing right now with my life. which is sharing Oprah Winfrey's book. She wrote a book about trauma and about resilience and about hope, along with neuroscientist Bruce D. Perry, right? And the book is called What Happened to You? And I've been sharing it with the collective and discussing, because I feel a need to destigmatize trauma and normalize it, in the sense that we all need to understand that if there's one thing we all have in common is trauma,
Right.
especially after the pandemic. Because if you didn't have any other trauma because you're so blessed, you at least have that trauma to relate to, right? And of course, unity, right? One heart and one mind. That's the goal, the ultimate goal, that perfect brightness of hope that I talk in the Hope series about. That unity, I'm sorry, are you going to edit this? Because I just got distracted with a bird and
Oh, it's
yeah,
okay.
this will be edited, right? Okay.
It's okay. It happens. I like I
Yeah.
tell people, we go through we see a lot of things. We look at things and stuff like that, and it's no worries.
Yes. No. So yes, I know it will be edited. I hope so. So do you hear it? Like, it's right there.
Oh yeah, it's
Um,
ridiculous. Hey, looks like we got the bird as an appearance. The bird made an appearance in the
yes.
podcast. Okay.
Yes, the bird made an appearance in the podcast. So what I was saying is the trauma that we all have in common, right? And of course, I'm not a licensed therapist. There's a big warning in all of our discussions that says, I'm not a licensed therapist and I can only go so far in helping you overcome your trauma. But we also have hope in common. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what's going on in your life, whether you're a politician, whether you're the poorest, whether you have, you're living your best life, whether you're homeless.
Right.
We all need hope. And it's not about religion, which is also something that was fascinating to dive into and to discover. Julie Naras, in her work Apprenticed to Hope, she divides hope into 8 different types. And that was fascinating because all I knew was hope in Christ before I did my research. And then I do my research and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Hope is an actual thing, completely objectifiable outside of church organizations, which right now we are all so divided when it comes to that, right? And I'm like, but let's just focus on the big picture. And hope is part of that big picture, right? Because, the American Psychological Association acknowledges hope. And if they can turn it into a science, so can I. And if it is a science, then it can be a tool. And if it's a tool, I can have it in my tool belt to bring out whenever I need it. It's at my disposal. Right. I'm the one controlling the tool. And so bringing it back to the beginning, I had a whole lifetime of exercising hope against my will, right? Like a child, right, angry because I'm not getting what I want, because why do I have to wait? Because I'm entitled, because other things have been granted, so why not this? All of these things that we ask ourselves daily, I know we do. And so when they asked me to talk about hope on July 4th, and then I do all of this research, I realize, holy moly, hope is everywhere in my journey. Everywhere. I mean, I was 6 years old in Puerto Rico, knowing that I was going to be having this conversation one day in the States, in the English language, sharing a message. Yet I had to wait 21 years to move out of Puerto Rico to move here. 21 years of being angry and entitled and desperate and chasing. And then all of a sudden, I decided to wait for the spirit. I decided to freaking wait for that call. And there it was. We would like for you to talk about hope in Christ. You're going to make me cry, David. It's too much.
Did you ever think about writing a book as far as
Oh,
that? Is that on your list of
it's
goals?
happening. It's happening as we speak. It's definitely it's one of those, right, deep heart's desires. I'm a published poet, and I should start a hashtag campaign that says poets are also authors, because for some reason we got left behind and we're not considered authors, and we're not part of the authors cool kids club. But my poetry has been published for many years. It's about to get published again in Puerto Rico, and I'm very excited to just see. Like I told you, I'm open to see where this conversation goes, and definitely a book is already in the works. Thank
Uh,
you.
that's fantastic. So how long have you been into life coaching and mentoring?
So I've been working in the field of real estate for almost 8 years. And there's a lot of life coaching that takes place in a real estate transaction. You know, clients are going through a milestone in their life, right? Which is moving sometimes to a brand new place and purchasing a home, sometimes their very first home. Oh, yay. Our family's going to grow up here and all of that, right? And envisioning and doing all of this thing, all of these things that we do in life coaching. And so there's also that consulting factor. As a real estate agent, you are a sales consultant, right? And that's really just the last 8 years of my life. Let's not get into, you know, my first job at 13, or the fact that I've always been kind of like in that hustle and bustle productive mode. Always had a job, right? Or two. And so when the pandemic hit, I was one of those people who got furloughed. And I didn't suffer badly, because as I got furloughed in the same company that my husband still works in, he got promoted in a certain way. So it was, you know, we were blessed,
Yeah.
and it was very timely. And when they called me back a few months later, another blessing, I got called back. However, that space of time of taking a break from that job, which really didn't fit, and really I knew wasn't my forever career in real estate, I decided to pray and ponder, well, what's next? I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I have a toddler. However, just being not having a job just doesn't suit my personality, right? Not being industrious in that way. So to stay at home with him, to just be home, is not attractive to me. And so, you know, what's next with my life? And for a second, I started pondering my relationships outside of my marriage, and my own trauma, and my own healing. And then that talk about hope was already there. That was July, before I started life coaching. And I wondered if I should go back to school, because I was really interested in positive psychology and neuroscience. And so I'm like, you know, going back to school, going down that deep rabbit hole and financial strain, it just didn't suit. And then I prayed about it some more. And I really felt like, you know, get on your computer right now. It was the middle of the night. Get on your computer right now and research positive psychology and see what comes up. And on the other side, I'm like, I'm not getting a master's. I'm not going to school. You know, it would have to be something else. And then I found Lumia coaching and their certification. And I graduated 6 months later. I was enrolled like 2 days later. I'm like, this is it. I want to be a certified life coach because that's the thing. I was already coaching, I was already consulting, I was already life coaching people through the buying or selling of real estate. All I needed was a certification, that prepared me to facilitate in this way, because people's lives are precious. And it's a huge responsibility for me to host a client on a call and to facilitate clarity. Again, I can't stress enough how important this is for me.
I love when you said people's lives are precious. That definitely should hit a lot of people, and people shouldn't take life for granted. All the experiences, everything that they accomplish, all the struggles, all the sacrifices, it's for a reason. And like you said, you found life coaching as your true calling.
Right. Oh, yes, yes. And then the consulting part, just to answer the question, right? You asked about consulting as well. The consulting part comes into play because I have two other businesses, and my husband has always been my mentor and consultant. He's been in real estate for 20 years and he has his own endeavors as well. And when it comes to business consulting, I can consult and coach anyone who wants to launch a small business, quote unquote, small business, online, social media marketing consulting. I do every day. And there's also the difference between life coaching and consultant. Do you know what it is?
I'm not familiar with the differences. I mean, between both. I know both require you to, I guess, speak to clients. That's pretty much it. It's all I pretty much do.
So may I share with you?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Let,
great.
let, let our listeners know what the differences are.
Yes, thank you. That's great. The great idea. So we tend to confuse mentoring, consulting, life coaching, and therapy. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to take a few minutes to just go through all of them really quick.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, good. So therapy, we're going to dive into first and then take it off the list because you need a medical degree, you need a diagnosis, you get a treatment plan. Sorry, I said plant. You get a treatment plan, and then you are, kind of discharged. Great, you're done with therapy. Hopefully you move on with your life, right? So obviously that's not life coaching because I don't have a medical degree and I'm not a licensed therapist. So that one is already off the table. Now, the ones that also get a little bit cloudy and discombobulated and people just get confused is mentoring, consulting, and life coaching. And so here's the thing, at least when it comes to the International Coaching Federation, ICF. So where I got certified is an accredited institution that belongs to the International Coaching Federation. And so with that, we have a specific code of conduct and specific standards. And one of those is, as a life coach that works or that got certified with Lumia or that is an ICF under the ICF umbrella, I do not give advice. Because giving advice from my own experience, from my own opinion, from my own life, that's consulting. And so if the contract that you sign when you start a relationship with an ICF certified coach doesn't stipulate that consulting will take place at the request of the client, then throughout this specific relationship with this specific person, I will not consult unless they ask. Do you really want to know what I think about this? Because in the end, it doesn't really matter because it's your life. And a life coach is there to really just ask the hard questions that you don't want to ask yourself, that will really make a difference, you know, and to hold your hand and in the process, and to offer, you know, completely unbiased, non-judgmental support, right? And then if in this relationship we need the work of a consultant to come in so that we can consult about web design, I'm not a web designer, or about something else, then we bring a consultant into the relationship. And once that consultant is done with their job, okay, moving on with your life, between life coach and you, that's it. And then it's not mentoring, obviously, because mentoring implies that it's a student-teacher relationship. So I feel like when it comes to group coaching, for example, the Hope series can be enjoyed one-on-one, or it's already been done multiple times as a group. Well, there's some mentoring involved because there's an agenda and I'm teaching you about hope. And then there's the group coaching thing about us supporting each other and me coaching people through it. That was a lot. Yay.
Yeah, that was a lot, but very, very informative. We sometimes we just need to break things down, and it was very good to learn that, because now you find a better understanding of what each topic or each section entails.
Correct.
The
Yes.
responsibilities.
Yes, the responsibilities. It's, again, you know, it's a huge responsibility because it's not my life. It's yours. And like I said, life is so precious. And if you're listening and you're looking for a life coach, I'm not saying, you know, come to me, but do your research about the person that you're going to open up about your life with, and make sure that there's an authentic connection, and make sure that you really feel, not that they're telling you, but that you really feel that they have your best interest at heart, because it's your life. And aside from the fact that it's your life and your life is so precious, you're also the one providing, you know, the payment. And so you're the consumer, you're the customer. You make sure that you feel right at home with your service providers, for sure.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about you and how you feel. And if for example, if you're the right person for them, then by all means they can go for it. You know, try it out, see if it works out. You know, no, there's no shame in trying.
Correct. That's right. There's no shame in making a call, you know, and reaching out and saying, I need help. Or I'm stuck today.
Exactly. That's probably the biggest flaw that a lot of people uh have, is just asking for help, you know, and especially because I deal with middle school students myself as a mentor.
Mhm.
So half the time I'll be having a conversation with them and ask them, do you need help with something? And they're like, no, Mr. David, I'm okay. You know, I don't need help. I'm like, are you sure you don't need help? Like, I'm opening up myself to you, just like you should. But you know, but the difference is I usually take my time with them trying to open up, because as a mentor and an advocate, I listen to what they're dealing with or what they're experiencing every day, and then I take the time to analyze it. And then that's when I go and say, okay, so they told me all this information. So now I take it and ask myself, okay, so what can I do to help them have a better, comfortable, pleasant experience, not just in school, but outside of school as well, you know, around their peers and their family.
Right. Right. Yes, it's so important to be considerate and to analyze all of these things when we are in such a privileged position to be reaching others and to be of service, and to potentially, right, hopefully, because that's my hope, to hopefully make a difference in people's lives. It is, we are doing, you know, performing miracles, and you're a miracle and I'm a miracle, and it's like, ah, what can we do to all feel this? This is my hope and my goal, that we all can feel worthy and loved and supported, really.
So where can we, I guess, find more about you, your information, and learn about you and what you do?
So the daily, if you want to be involved in the daily comings and goings of Graciela and Elijah and, Song of Myself, Instagram will always have my heart. I mean, hopefully it never disappears because that's where I've been since 2010, and I've redesigned it and I've launched all of my businesses there, and I have, long, long, long time friends on that platform. So please follow me on songofmyself.ig. And then of course, my website, which I'm sure we will link to the podcast, but it's somcoaching.com. I am also SOM coaching on Twitter. And if you prefer Facebook, there's a Facebook page, Song of Myself blog. Please like it, follow me there, and sign up. Can we put the link for people to sign up for my Hope Enthusiast newsletter?
Yeah, of course, we can do that.
Yeah, and now you're part of the club. Let me tell you. So, my newsletter is called the Hope Enthusiasts Club Weekly. And anyone who signs up is a member of the club, because my hope is that you're spreading the good news and tapping into hope daily so that you can keep, moving forward, propelling yourself to continue to want to grow and to want to heal and, so on and so forth, because we all should be living our best life, all of us, regardless of our circumstances. And I'm not sure if it's that empath in me, right? But I couldn't appreciate my blessings the same if I couldn't share them with others and if I couldn't pay it forward in a way, because that's just not fair. Yeah.
And then on your, I guess, on your socials, can they reach out to you to request, I mean, your assistance as far as life coaching and consulting there as well?
Oh, for sure. Yes. Oh, I appreciate you so much for asking this question. So, of course, you can book a call. There's a link all over the place. So, on my website and in my Instagram, and the first consultation is free, and that's where we decide, what do you need and how can I help? And then we decide how to move forward, what track to go down to, right, depending on your needs. And so on Instagram, in the link in bio, there's my link tree. Do you know what that is?
Oh yeah, I have a link tree.
Oh, good. And
Yeah.
so for the listeners who don't know, it's essentially just one landing page that has all of my links in it. That's why it's called a link tree. And so there you can sign up for the latest meditation. For example, this Friday, we have a meditation at night. And so there's the link there, but it's only happening this Friday. So after this Friday, that link will not be there. But there's also links to book my business consulting or to book my life coaching sessions, and links to outside apps that I am also involved in, like Wisdom. I'm a top mentor there, and there's a link on my link tree. I'm pretty easy to find if you think about it. It's like you told me before we started recording, I am everywhere, and so are you.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Well, that's the power of social media for you. It allows people to network and connect in ways that we might not be able to do in person. So
Yes, yes. I'm loving this technology thing because it allows me to spread, glad tidings of great joy everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for being on. I definitely had a pleasure having you on and learning all about hope and perseverance and pushing forward and just what a wonderful message.
Oh, thank you so much, David. I appreciate you. And I'm so, so grateful for this space and for allowing me to come and share my experience. Uh, and really, we could have discussed the time when I was hopeless and then, made it to the hope. But without considering it toxic positivity, I feel like as a motivational speaker, you can definitely appreciate having a full conversation about how truly important it is to tap into the blessings, to remember the good, to seek the light. And if you're not ready today, then hopefully I can take you there and I can help. So, and if it's not me, then, reach out, make a phone call. There's others out there, and I hope that you connect soon. Thank you
Well,
so much, David.
thank you, and I hope everybody listening today, you guys can find this podcast on my YouTube channel, Spotify, iTunes, and all other major podcasting outlets out there. I typically end this. Well, I used to end the podcast with, "If I can do it, so can you." That's actually my motto, but I've actually kind of reframed it to where I tell my listeners, if if uh if Graciela and I can do it, so can you. So thank you guys and have a wonderful day.
Yay. Thank you.